Welcome to the Global Focus Review channel. Ishmael plays a significant role in sacred texts, particularly in the Judeo-Christian and Islamic traditions. His story is primarily documented in the Old Testament of the Bible and the Quran. Ishmael, the firstborn of Abraham and Hagar, who was Sarah's servant and Abraham's wife, embarks on a journey closely intertwined with the divine promise made to Abraham. This promise, stated in Genesis, entails God's declaration to make Abraham a great nation, bless him, make his name renowned, and bring him blessings. Understanding the context in which Abraham and Sarah lived, as well as the circumstances leading to Ishmael's conception, is crucial in comprehending this divine promise. Before we proceed, I encourage you to watch the entire video and share it with your friends and family who seek knowledge in the scriptures if you find it relevant. Don't forget to leave a like, as I am confident that God will generously reward you. With that being said, enjoy another video from our channel, Why Are Jews and Arabs Always at War? Abraham and Sarah were advanced in age when they received the divine promise, making it even more extraordinary considering the unlikely possibility of a natural conception. Additionally, Sarah had been facing infertility since her youth, exacerbating the situation. The inability to conceive was a constant source of sadness and challenge for the couple, and the prolonged wait created anguish and uncertainty. At times, Abraham and Sarah may have questioned whether the promise would be fulfilled and how God could accomplish what seemed impossible given the delay in conceiving a child. Given the situation, Sarah suggested to Abraham that he take Hagar as a concubine in order to conceive children. Abraham agreed, and Hagar became pregnant. During the second millennium BCE, when nomadic lifestyles were common, family ties and marriages held great practical importance. The practice of using a servant to bear children was a cultural response to ensure offspring and inheritance. However, impatience, mainly on Sarah's part, in attempting to fulfill the divine promise through human means, had disastrous consequences. This led to conflicts between Sarah and Hagar, highlighting the negative outcomes of hasty decisions and a lack of trust in God's plans. The situation became unbearable, prompting Sarah to threaten Hagar's life. Feeling oppressed and displaced, Hagar fled to the desert in search of relief. In her solitude, Hagar faced the uncertainties of the arid environment. It was during this moment of loneliness and distress that an angel of the Lord appeared to her, delivering a comforting and prophetic message. The angel revealed that the child Hagar carried would be named Ishmael, describing him as a wild man blessed by God. This divine intervention not only brought comfort to Hagar, but also bestowed significant purpose upon her unborn son. The name Ishmael, meaning God hears, reflects God's response to Hagar's suffering and circumstances. Hagar subsequently returned to Abraham's house, and Ishmael was later born. Abraham openly expressed his love for Ishmael, his firstborn son, and desired for him to live under God's blessing. Concerned about Ishmael's destiny and eager for God's promise to be fulfilled through him, Abraham asked God to bless him in Genesis. However, God had specific intentions to fulfill his promise of creating a great nation through Abraham's descendants. In response to Abraham's request, God renews his promise and establishes a distinct covenant with him in Genesis. God informs Abraham that Sarah will give birth to a son named Isaac, solidifying the covenant with Isaac as an everlasting agreement to be their God and the God of his offspring. As for Ishmael, God promises to bless him and make him the father of 12 princes and a significant nation. Although God reaffirms the promise of a great nation through Ishmael, he emphasizes that the specific covenant for the lineage of the promise would be established through Isaac, the son Sarah would bear in the future. Against all odds, God fulfills his promise by revealing to Abraham that Sarah, despite her advanced age, will conceive and give birth to a son. Initially, both Sarah and Abraham find this news unbelievable. Sarah's internal laughter at the idea of conceiving in old age reflects a mix of surprise, disbelief, and perhaps a touch of resignation in the face of the seemingly impossible situation. God, sensing Sarah's laughter, questions her, highlighting the uniqueness of the upcoming event, the birth of Isaac. When Isaac is born, it signifies the fulfillment of a divine promise that appeared impossible to human eyes. Isaac's name, meaning laughter, is directly tied to Sarah's initial reaction. This event has profound consequences as it not only fulfills a divine promise, but also transforms Sarah's initial disbelief into realized faith with the birth of Isaac. Furthermore, this occurrence has implications on the relationships within the family, particularly the interactions between Isaac and Ishmael, the sons of Hagar and Sarah respectively. The arrival of Isaac intensifies the tensions within the family, eventually leading to Hagar and Ishmael being expelled. This situation exemplifies the complexities that arise from human choices and the fulfillment of divine promises. Sarah initially rejecting and subsequently expelling Hagar and Ishmael leaves them in a challenging predicament. The family dynamics are characterized by strains and feelings of abandonment. Ishmael, as the rejected son, grapples with issues of identity and belonging in the harsh desert environment. Hagar and Ishmael experience loneliness and uncertainty. The Bible emphasizes Hagar's anguish at witnessing her son's suffering and Ishmael's struggle to adapt to an unfavorable setting. At a critical moment, when Hagar and Ishmael face the dire prospect of dying of thirst, God intervenes. An angel of the Lord appears to Hagar, addressing her concerns and reassuring her not to fear. The angel promises that God has heard Ishmael's cry and reveals that a great nation will descend from him. God then reveals a well of water to Hagar, saving their lives. After this divine intervention, Ishmael and Hagar continue to reside in the wilderness of Paran. Ishmael grows up to become a skilled hunter proficient in archery, and his mother arranges an Egyptian marriage for him. It is worth noting that Ishmael maintains some connection with Abraham, as various sources mention his visits to his father and Abraham's presence in Ishmael's household. According to the Aramaic translation of Yonatan Benil, Ishmael's first wife is named Adisha. Interestingly, in Hebrew, Adisha means insensitive. According to accounts, it is believed that Abraham undertook a journey on a camel to visit his son. This journey spanned from Canaan to Egypt, the land of Israel. Upon arriving, Abraham concealed his true identity and asked his wife about Ishmael's whereabouts. She informed him that Ishmael was working in the field with his mother. After a long journey, Abraham requested water and food, but Ishmael's wife refused, indicating they had nothing to offer. Abraham left a message, stating that an elderly gentleman had visited and mentioned the need for repairs to the foundations of Ishmael's tent. When Ishmael received the message from his wife, Adisha, he realized that his father had visited and that his current wife did not treat guests well, contrary to what he had learned from Abraham. As a result, Ishmael changed wives and married the woman his mother had brought from Egypt. Together, they had many children, whose names are mentioned in the Torah, including Neith, the eldest, followed by Kedar, Adil, Emsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hadad, Tema, Jesha, Naish, and Kedema. Ishmael sought guidance from Abraham, particularly when Hagar, according to Midrash, returned to practicing idolatry after going back to Egypt. Disregarding the teachings from Abraham's household, Ishmael found himself torn between two worlds, that of his mother and that of his father. The Bible mentions that Ishmael had 12 sons, who are considered ancestors of various Arab tribes. The biblical verse in Genesis regarding this period of Ishmael's life states that God was with him as he grew up in the wilderness of Pan and became skilled in archery. His mother chose an Egyptian wife for him from the Juram tribe, highlighting Ishmael's adaptability to desert life and the cultural ties between Ishmael and the surrounding region. Additionally, the Bible records the marriage of Isaac's son Esau to the daughter of Ishmael. Thus, Esau ventured to Ishmael's residence and selected Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael's son from Abraham and sister of Neith, to wed. This addition expanded the number of his wives, which were already present. The biblical account lacks elaborate specifics regarding the events of Ishmael's adult life. However, there is a subsequent mention of Ishmael alongside Isaac when discussing Abraham's demise in Genesis. According to this passage, Isaac and Ishmael, being half-brothers, jointly buried their father in the cave of Mela near Mamre, located in the field of Ephron, Zohar's son, the Hittite. It was at this location where Abraham and his wife Sarah were laid to rest. This excerpt implies that, despite the initial challenging circumstances, Ishmael and Isaac united to fulfill their duty of burying their father, Abraham. The biblical account notes Ishmael's death without specifying the cause, noting that he lived for 137 years before being gathered to his people. The term Ishmaelite is employed to describe the descendants of Ishmael who eventually formed a mighty nation, as per the divine promise made to Hagar and Abraham. These descendants are often associated with nomadic groups inhabiting desert regions near the Arabian Peninsula. Consequently, the name Ishmael not only designates a particular lineage, but also appears frequently in the Bible as a relatively common name. We appreciate your continued viewership and wish you God's blessings. We hope to see you soon.